Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the August 1st meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30. And a roll call,
Sandy Slavin.
Donna Brown.
Peter Dunlop.
Jim Gibberti. Okay. And Malcolm White is not here. We have minutes.
You want to make another motion about advertisement?
No, I don't think that should be done on this, that's all. I have minutes for approval from the 6th of June. Those have been postponed because we didn't have the people here to vote on them.
On the 6th of June, Malcolm, Peter, and Donna were present.
On the 6th,
Yeah, 6th of June. So
So we can do it.
we had at least two.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. Oh,
okay, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting as presented June 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 202. And we have,
only because
I wasn't here on the
Jim and I were not here on the 6th.
right. And
I make a motion to accept the minutes of July 18th.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, four, one abstain, right, 301. Okay,
I will go to the office on Friday and sign these.
sign which?
The minutes. They're not here because Guy always brings
guy's
them.
not here, yeah, that's right.
Well,
Oh, you have them.
we'll see. Yes, I have for Sandy's signature.
Give me a trip. There should be two of them coming down.
Malcolm is not here. Malcolm, I have two for Malcolm, but he's not here.
He doesn't have to sign them. I can sign them. We voted on them.
These are past.
Yes, this is has to be the 6th.
Yeah. Or something else there.
Why do we have, oh, I know, why do we have a May 16th? I thought we've approved them.
I think they're approved, but they weren't signed,
Well,
that's all.
The last meeting we had was July 18th.
Affirmative. Whoops.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a sewer usage billing fee for the first half of 20, fiscal year 20. This is for board's first half commitment for fiscal year 20 sewer users fee in the amount of $2,961,552.01.
Make a motion to approve it as written.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay. 400, and we're gonna sign that one. Odor update, I've spoken with Guy, and I think he was gonna put some of those misters back on. One of the, one of the residents that's affected by this has requested that he put the misters back on or do something to try to reduce the smell, so.
And didn't Guy send out a meeting that, a memo that somebody was coming to the plant Friday morning to discuss that?
He has a contractor coming Friday morning, yes. We'll
Now,
Second.
We'll find out.
Troops.
I don't know, we'll have to go find out.
at the last meeting, we were presented with a memo called Resiliency Assessment of Equalization Lagoons in Wareham, WPCF. We discussed it, but after the fact, I was told it was a draft, but there's nothing on this document that says it was a draft.
Well, it is a draft. They're supposed to,
Did I miss a header or something?
no, it was not,
It was not presented as a draft.
no, it wasn't. It is a draft.
Okay. And when we talked about
And
odor,
has anybody read it?
I did, and I had comments on it.
So have I.
So I guess we'll wait for the next meeting?
I just got it, so I haven't had a chance to review it.
But I
Okay,
did
well-
ask about back to the odor. Guy sent me a document from Tech Environmental dated August 21st, 2016. And here is three levels of action items to be taken at the plant. With Guy not here, I don't know which one of the short-term, medium-term, or long-term actions were taken in order to handle the odor. I mean, this is 2016.
I remember that one, yeah. I don't know what he's done
I
on
mean,
any of it.
I go down Route 6, I can smell the plant on Sandwich Road. Not fair.
No, it isn't.
And the
I
heat
mean,
is horrible. I went there the other day, and Guy was in a meeting with, I think, Buzzards Bay Coalition, and the lagoon was virtually empty, and he had a smoker going to try to put in different smells. So we had a barbecue pit going, trying to help with the smells, but I don't know what to do with the plant. How to help the people. I mean, it's been, 60-plus days they've been complaining about the smell?
Yep.
And I'm sure that, I wouldn't
He's gotta-
blame them
well-
if they went higher up than us.
I found out,
This is disgusting.
This has been going on for years.
okay, I found out the other day, there's another company that he deals with that I haven't heard that he's brought in at all that does have odor control things that could help us. So I'm going to contact them and ask them if they'll come down and explain what they've got.
What do they, I spoke to Sharon Boyer in a parking lot a couple weeks ago, and she says, well, he tried misters, but they stunk, so
Well, that's the problem.
What do you do?
The misters came out before, that was the response to it, and the person that had, as I understand it, I don't know for sure, but as I understand it from Guy, the person that had the biggest complaint about the misters is the one that's asking for them to be turned back on. So, leave it at that, because I don't know any more than that.
I would be interesting if anybody was going to the plant Friday to meet with this guy that's coming to talk about.
Well, I'm planning on going
Misters
over
back
there.
I don't know what time.
I don't either, I'll find out, but if I can get a ride, I'll plan on being over there. I'm sure Barbara will
Want to
give me-
ride?
I may need one, I don't know.
Guy sent it to me.
But I'll see tomorrow, I'll call him in the morning and find out what
But I-
time
I'll check to see if I
whoever
still
it is
have
is
it.
supposed to come down.
These things, if I have it paper.
We have no superintendent's report. The sump pump situation, I think, after the last meeting, we need to get a policy on the sump pumps specifically, on what we're gonna do, how we're gonna handle it, so everybody's aware. I've got some stuff started, but I'll get it out to everybody when I get something that looks...
We were due a report on Stone Path.
Stone Path,
Oh, excuse me, on some pumps. What do you mean we've got to get some sort of a policy? Policy is that some pumps can't be connected to our system.
I think one
I mean,
to designate,
What more do you need for a policy?
to allow people to go into the homes,
Excuse me?
to allow people to allow our people to go into the homes, or at least approach the homes.
But how does that affect the policy? The policy is you can't have it. How does that affect, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, how does that affect the policy? The policy states you can't have them.
Well,
So
okay, how do you know whether or not you have them?
Guy said that they
Just
can
because
tell-
just because the policy says you can't have them, just because the state says you can't have them, doesn't tell me that everybody up and down Swiss Beach doesn't have one. It also doesn't tell me that nobody up there has them. So we've got to find out, and it's the only way we're going to find out is going on a door-to-door campaign.
So you want a policy on enforcement?
Yeah, basically what it's going to be is because my suggestion is that we go door to door. If we're allowed in to check and verify there is no sump pump connected to the sewer system, then we're fine. If we're not allowed in, and we don't know one way or another, we have the ability to bill them a fee, and a substantial fee, which would be refunded if they will show us that they do not have the sump pump.
And if they
But
do
if
have a
they-
sump pump?
That the fee stays.
No, you can't have this fee stay, they have to disconnect.
Well, they don't have to they have to disconnect from the sewer system.
Yes,
They can have a sump pump.
yes, but it can't be connected.
Sump pumps by themselves are not illegal.
I thought we had our town attorney in here talking to us, and I didn't think, I thought the option was really only open to a legal recourse.
No.
Refresh my memory on what legal said when we discussed this, as far as the enforcement end of it.
Well, he's trying to cover all bases, which I understand. And he doesn't think that we would get anywhere by going door to door and asking people to see whether or not they have a sump pump and whether or not it's connected to the sewer system. I kind of disagree with that specific outlook, because I think a lot of the people out there would let us check, and if we find out they're hooked up to the sewer system, give them an alternative, if there is one, on what they can do with their expulsion, where it can go, as opposed to the sewer system.
We know we have 3 homes that are.
We're not talking about them.
No,
We're
no,
not talking about
no.
them.
My
Those don't
my
count.
note says that we should send letters to those 3 homes regardless of what they did to the pipelining, but we know we have.
That's up to the contractor.
No, I'm not talking about the suing of them. The note said we have to do an administrative search warrant, could be used to gain access. And how do we
They're carrying
determine,
this
how
thing
do we
way
determine if
over.
how pumps are, some pumps are existing, but we know we have 3 homes with sump pumps? Why can't we start with them and ask them for access to see if they're still hooked up? Nothing to do with any legal recourse to record the $70,000. I'm
But
just
that's,
saying,
we can do
we
that.
have to
I don't
start someplace.
That's not we can do that. That's not a big deal. But as far as, what happened before, that's in the contractor's hands, not ours.
I'm not talking about the legal issue of it. I'm saying, we know we have 3 homes with sump pumps. The
All-
others, we don't know yet.
All I'm suggesting is to try to keep this legalese to a minimum and go to the point of being able to go up and do it on a one-to-one basis. Do you have a sump pump? Is it connected to the sewer? It should not be. Please disconnect it and run it elsewhere. If that isn't done, this is what's going to happen.
Then we have to confirm whether it's done or not done, which is a second trip.
So it's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to go legal.
Can
Yes,
I-
yes, ma'am.
With all due respect, an individual that has a sun pump hooked up to the sewer is not gonna let you in to look at it. And if they are, they're gonna disconnect it before they let you in, okay? And say it's disconnected. So it's not that hard to just disconnect it and make it go to the outside. It's easy.
Yeah,
So
your point?
My point is, I really don't know how we can effectively,
If we get a third of them off the line by doing it without having to go legal, it's basically a win-win for both sides. We'll get some of it out of the system, which increases our potential capacity. People aren't fined, they aren't taken to court, there's no legal actions involved with it. The other ones do what we have to do.
We also talked about putting a fee on everybody's sewer bill and saying we will reverse it if you prove to us you don't have a sump pump. Everybody across the board. Charge them for a sump pump fee. And if they don't have a sump pump, prove it to us.
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that.
Just,
Peter? Go ahead.
what was legal's position on that?
I don't have anything on my note about it.
Do you recall what?
No, I don't. I'm trying to remember now what his position, because...
I don't think that was a
that was an
doable
option.
thing, according to legal, and I really don't remember the
Let me see
reason
what the
why.
minutes have.
And Donna, to your point, we're only gonna get the honest ones.
Oh, exactly.
So
Exactly,
let's,
because people that are
so
hooked up
let's
to the system-
get
But that's an
them.
improvement.
That's an improvement. Let's get them first.
I mean, I totally agree with you. They'll disconnect it and reconnect it.
Yeah, but I'm
And there's not much we can do about it. However, what we can't handle right now is what we can handle is the three we know about on Swift Beach. However, when that project continued up Swift Beach Road, a great deal, many more came in. And we are going to get billed for those, because the contractor warned us to warn the people after this, the three down on Waukiko. Okay? And when all of the people were notified along Swift Beach Road that the sewer project was ongoing, they were told about the sump pumps. So the contractor is covered. We're gonna end up with that bill.
Do we have any idea? I didn't realize there was more
There's a
lining,
lot
lining
more, Sandy.
that was destroyed and had to be replaced. I thought it was,
It was part of the reason that the whole Swift Beach project took an extra month and a half to get done. They had to grind out some of that lineup
Okay, 'cause-
and redo it.
we never had a discussion other than the 3 units.
That's
Okay,
right.
So that I don't remember ever talking about the cost
not.
of
We
an
we
increment.
haven't,
not.
we haven't,
Okay, so
we
Okay,
haven't. This is new
confusing.
information,
it happened more, other than the 3.
a great deal more. And while the contractor was willing to eat the first 3, he's definitely not gonna eat the rest of them.
So we know who contaminated that lining on Swiss Beach Road. We know exactly which homes did it, so we can take the cost and divide it by X and say, okay, we can add the fee to your tax bill because I believe uncollectible.
Well, this is what we went over with legal, and this was the precedent. What did he call it? You went to court and you had
Lien,
what was the term he used?
put a lien on the
He
property.
called it
No, no,
an
no.
administrative search warrant.
Nope. You had probable cause.
Okay.
Probable cause for the search warrant.
Yes.
So when we get the bill from the contractor, we can identify the houses, and with that, go to legal and get a search warrant for those houses.
Is that part of the $3 million bill we just paid?
No,
Once again,
I'm,
once you go in there and do this, and you leave, and they pay the fine,
because right now they have no place else to put that water. They don't have an alternative.
we cannot accept it. The EPA will not let us accept it. Even if we could bill them for it,
Okay.
we can't accept it.
There's,
We can accept the fine.
there's nothing in the minutes that talked about a fine for a fee for everybody for sump pumps. There's nothing in the minutes, nothing in my notes.
No, it was the meeting we had with
Rich
legal.
Bowen on 6/20, yes, I'm looking at the minutes and I'm looking at my notes when Mr. Bowen was here, and there's nothing here about putting a fee on everybody's bill.
We did have a discussion on
We
that.
most
only
definitely
it-
did,
but
because
it
we
was
gave
brief,
him Mac's copy.
But it was brief.
Oh, I got it, here it is, way down. Peter, you asked if we could charge everyone a surcharge and then it would be waived once his or her system is inspected. Mr. Tropiano stated that once inspected and the workers leave, the pump could be hooked up again.
I mean, that's like
But
Donna's.
that's not a legal issue about fining everybody and then waiving it if you prove you don't have it.
Okay. Can we, what was the opinion of legal on us putting the fee on?
It isn't in here.
I don't think he
It's
gave a
not
final
mentioned in the
opinion.
minutes. It's not mentioned in my notes.
Okay, you've said that before.
Okay, so I thought you were asking me the same question.
I don't
But you
believe,
just said that I brought it up.
You brought it up, but there was no discussion with Mr. Bowen on it. He
I
says
don't
nothing in the notes
believe-
on it.
Mr. Bowen gave us an answer to that particular question. Because it was,
If Patrick says, why do it, you'll turn your back and they'll reconnect.
yeah, I mean, that's that negative outlook to things. It's,
Well,
No,
that's
this
what we're
is a-
saying. We're only going to keep the honest people honest.
but there's a. And if we get that much, we're ahead of the game. And then we go on from there. Then we'll have it narrowed down then.
Well, if we don't do something, we can't take any additional hookups. We're really at capacity,
I understand that. Well, that's, yeah, okay.
especially since we got 2 projects that haven't come in yet that we approved. 2 housing, the one on Red Brook Road.
That's been approved.
I know, but right now, we don't have the capacity to accept that additional product, because right
I-
now, we overflow as it is. We're putting too much into the lagoons because we can't handle the volume, especially when it rains and the sump pumps kick in.
Well, that's another
So
issue.
we really,
We've got a critical situation here.
Oh, I know.
I feel,
Well,
but I don't know what the answer is.
well, we've got to control the I, and that's essentially what we're trying to do. And some pumps are a contributor to I. So that's one of those things. Another contributor, obviously, is the piping itself in areas where it's separated, where it's cracked, where it's broken, which the lining is taken care of as we do it. Now, we've got a lot of areas within their system that still need to be lined, that we still have that inflow coming from that we haven't been able to control, and the only way to control it is going to be to line it. The only way to line it is to have the money to spend to do it. Now, unfortunately, we've got a finite amount of money, and we've been spending that money at this point
and
in that direction.
we did get a list by High I from Guy, almost, 5 months ago, on what pump stations are worst offenders, right?
Yep.
So we do have a list of where to attack, but most of them are in the beach community where you've
What's
got
there?
low water, high water, low homes, or whatever you want to, however you refer to it as.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll proceed first with the 3 that we know, get something to them
Yeah.
right away.
The more I think about what legal's position was, we gave Mr. Bowen the rough draft that Mac had done with the surcharge until proven innocent. And
Who's going to look at
I want to say
Who's
that
gonna look at
his reaction was, would you email this to me?
Yeah, that's right, so I could go over it.
And so he could go over it.
Yeah.
And he did not say we couldn't do it, but we probably never emailed it to him.
Let me recheck with Bowen.
Now, let me ask you one other question, as long as we're talking on that vein. if in fact we can put the surcharge on, who's going to go around doing the inspections in order to remove this surcharge?
It's gonna have to be some of Guy's people.
But it's going to have to be somebody that's qualified to understand plumbing.
And guys, people are all working all the time now. They don't have the spare time to go out to, how many hookups do we have? 3,000, 4,000 homes?
I believe we have,
6,000. Oh, it's a lot of homes.
Excuse me, 6,000 EDUs. No,
Okay.
9,000 EDUs, 6,000 residents.
6,000 units, homes. No, could be businesses.
6,000 spots, 9,000 EDUs.
Okay. So we don't,
So that some of them have
Like a
more than one
laundromat.
EDU.
Yeah,
like
so-
one,
Now, let me, is this totally ridiculous? Can we get the plumbing inspector to do this for us?
or hire an outside qualified person.
exactly. I-
Team,
I-
But he'd have to be a licensed
qualified,
plumber.
yeah,
That's all right.
qualified.
But I think that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would rather see us do that, because then we know we can do it. If you're gonna depend on the plumbing inspector,
He's
It's gonna depend on what day of the week he
He's out
feels
straight as it is, huh, Donna?
Yeah, he doesn't, yeah.
No, no, no.
He's only part-time anyway.
Yeah, he's only 19 hours a week.
All right. Let's get Max rough draft to Rich. If it's legal, let's hire a plumber and have him, and that's the only way they get the surcharge. What's the surcharge gonna be?
$5,000.
5 grand?
We never talked about an amount.
I just threw a number out. There you go. Let's start there.
Then they're gonna want to prove it.
Excuse me?
Then they're gonna say, prove to me it cost me 5,000. It cost you water pollution control facility, it cost you 5,000 per person for every
Oh, wait
sump
a
pump.
second. No. It's not a case of cost. It's illegal.
So it
The
isn't,
fine.
it is because of the, all right. I wonder if any other town
We don't
in
care.
Massachusetts, no, has a fee, has a penalty fee for improper connection to sewer. So maybe if we could find if another town has it, we might use that as a starting point, because we call this a penalty fee for improper connection to sewer. We have to,
The term,
Place to start, Sandy. I
The
think
term, I think I'd be more apt to follow whatever the EPA classifies it as. So we'll see what the EPA regulations say about sump pumps being connected, what they call
if
it.
they call it, if they,
I believe I know of one town that had done something on this sump pump that did a fining assessment. Not sure what the right terminology is at the moment for what they did, but they said that it worked out extremely well for them, and they managed to get their sump pump situation under control. So I will try to find out who the person would be to talk to in that regard, and have some information for the next meeting.
Chairman, can I suggest that maybe Mr. Campina, give us names of other communities like ours that are involved, that have septic systems, and that, we reach out to them and tell them, and talk to the different members, and see what kind of policies and how they enforce it?
That's basically what I just said.
I don't think we have to go far. Middleborough, it's got the same kind of a problem.
What this was.
Yeah. And
No, I was at,
because any place that's got lots of water, ponds, lakes, any of that kind of stuff. And
Probably,
I'm sure a couple of phone calls to Middleborough, Carver, Rochester.
Rochester doesn't have sewage, do they?
So I don't think we have to wait for Guy. We can make some phone calls.
What about the Bridgewaters?
You know where my, the people that were here last week when we came in, that group that got together from Foxborough, Mansfield,
That's what I'm
Taunton.
talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Why don't we contact them?
That's what I'm gonna
We-
contact.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Write it down.
And I think we have to be careful about what we call that fine, fee, whatever, because some people may be perfectly willing to pay it,
So you make it high enough.
rather than lose their $50,000 playroom. So we'll have to
What
be
you see,
careful because,
it's gotta be enough to hurt them.
well, okay, it's got to be enough to hurt them, but by the same token, as long as we enforce this, we're covering ourselves with the EPA. If
'Cause
they're
we're-
perfectly willing to pay the fine, it's only costing us 11 cents a gallon to treat it.
Plus could be the inability to add additional business.
We're not allowed to.
Yep. Yep. Well, we need some research as to what other towns are handling this as a incorrect connection fee. Invalid? Unapproved connection fee.
Look up a new word.
Make up a new word.
There you go.
Everybody else does.
Come on, I mean, those are maintenance holes on the street, what used to be manholes.
Okay, it seems like we don't have any more information, but the last I had on Stone Path was that they're at max. They can't go anymore, they can't expand, they can't do anything else.
Well, it isn't just Stone Path, is everybody connecting to that particular pump station? They're at max.
Not everybody's connected yet.
I know, that's the problem. If the mobile home park connects, we're in trouble. Right now, Stone Path has put that particular pump station at its maximum.
Right, so we're waiting for a report on that, on
And the ones
where
down the
what,
street. Yeah.
well, on what the potential solution is for that. Do the other pump stations have to be increased in size? Does that one have to be increased in size?
Or we
Is it a
enforce
pump
an
thing?
off-cycle, off-time, off-peak
do we-
discharge. We don't know
Yeah,
until we see the
We
report.
don't have anything to make a decision on right now.
But
We don't even have enough to
Until we see
discuss.
Springboard, we can't do anything.
I thought Stone Pass was only dump.
Well, I guess it's not, I guess that's not happening,
Oh.
but I don't know for sure.
That's not was in the.
I understand. Well, I was with that discussion with you.
Oh, wow.
Homes not connected to town sewer, that's a...
We were gonna, who's
That's a
gonna
Board
talk
of
to the
Health.
Board of Health? Because I haven't seen it on their agenda
I
yet.
thought Guy was, but I will, I'll call Bob.
Because I'm to the point, I want to publish the names of the properties that are not connected to sewer.
Well,
I'm awful close to saying, I want to start putting names out there.
I'm not at that point yet.
I'm tired of our nitrogen, of our water being green and sludgy and,
Was that
but
the-
I'm
Is that
very-
what's coming out of the faucet?
yes. Yeah, right. No, we got too much nitrogen going in. And it
From
takes,
who?
And it takes years, once a cesspool is disconnected, it takes years for that stuff to
It's
flow
not
out.
coming from us.
A lot of it's coming from people's
Who aren't
lawns.
connected.
That's-
Yeah, that's,
That's the biggest thing
That's
that nobody's
different.
doing anything about.
The who?
It's not my yard, man.
These lawns, particularly these plush green lawns that are down along the waterways.
we do not have a bylaw regarding fertilizer in the town.
No, but they were put to make sure that we had a nitrogen one, weren't they? But they didn't do anything to the real offenders
No.
are the people that are along our
Nantucket,
waterways.
Nantucket has a great one, and one of the towns in Oak Bluffs, on the Vineyard does too, but it's the enforcement of it that becomes the major nightmare. How do you enforce who is or not using the right nitrogen fertilizer at the right time of the year, et cetera? But I can tell you in
Okay.
conservation, every time there is a project along the water, they are told they must use low low nitrogen, slow reducing, low nitrogen as part of their,
Okay, we don't have that, so that doesn't apply to us, so.
no, but I want to start putting names out there that people haven't
ED
connected.
Our EDU rates, we are where we are. Ty and Bond has not finished their contract with us, from what I can see, and reading it and what you guys all have copies of. We're still waiting for a final report and further information off of it. So we will get Guy to go back after them, see if we can have something for, if not the next meeting, the one following it. New business. Got that commitment letter.
I have nothing.
Don?
The only thing that, there's no more business, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Donna, thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Donna, thank you for being right there. We didn't have to remind you like some people.